Well guys, allow me to show you the build which is gonna absolutely demolish 1440p gaming, okay? So just a week ago, we made a video about why it's pointless to spend more than $1,000 on a PC. Meaning, if you're gonna play at 1080p, because the new Ryzen 7 5700X3D is just so powerful that there's really no point to spending more to get a different platform if you just wanna play at 1080p high refresh rate, like 240 Hz, something like that. And it's easy to get other very good components. We did the full Endorphy build and it was nice. But if you want to play at 1440p high refresh rate, like 1440p 240 Hz, things changes, and that's where this build comes in. So this is based on the bigger brother of the Ryzen 7. This is the Ryzen 7 7800X3D. Now we mounted it on an MSI B650 motherboard because, as you can see in my video which I just did, there's no point in buying an X670 or a B650E. Just get a good B650 and you're gonna be happy. Now, we wanted to make a white build to make it look cooler, okay? Because what are FPS if you don't have the looks to go with it, right? So we went with fully white Kingston Renegade RAM, 6000 MHz, low latency stuff, 32 gigs. Now, why exactly 6000 MHz? Well, you don't really need to go higher for AMD builds. If you're doing Intel, you can go all the way up to 8000, but for AMD, you want to put the FCLK, which is the memory controller, to 3000 MHz, which is like half the VRAM speed. Well, to 1500 actually, because the DRAM speed is 3000, so you put it to half of that. And since it's double rate, the effective speed is 6000, but that's boring. So we went to 6000 MHz RAM, and you should do too if you're doing a similar build. You can cheap out on the motherboard a little bit, or spend even more and get a white motherboard. But anyways, we then went with a Kingston Renegade SSD NVMe. And now 1 TB is plenty if you're just gaming. So we just installed that under the motherboard shield and we're fine. For the cooler, since we got this amazingly beautiful Gamdias Neso P1 case, we got the Gamdias Aura White. Now this is a brand new cooler from Gamdias and they changed a lot in their cooler. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of their previous generation of coolers, but this is a good product. It comes on the box with their thermal paste, pre-installed fans in the right direction, which is something I like a lot. Even though in the Neso P1 we unfortunately had to actually go ahead and dismount them because if not the grill was in between. As you can see, it mounted wrong to begin with. But Gamdias actually gives you a very good manual with their Neso P1. So if you actually read it, which I didn't, you're gonna just not waste time, okay? It's gonna be a good idea probably. But anyways, we then mounted everything into the very pretty Gamdias Neso P1 case, connected all the cable and then got this very boring and ugly high-tech power supply. But hey, we needed to save money because this whole PC is actually not that expensive at all. You can build one for under $2,000, but to be more precise, if you really budget, if you build it yourself, and if you get just a little bit cheaper components than we did, you can probably spend around $1,700 and build it all for yourself. Nice way to save money is to get good looking but cheap fans, which is why we've gotten this Asia Horse Unifan. Now, yes, they may have copied Lian Li, but these look better than Lian Li in person. They don't have the trash Lian Li software, and they cost a third of the price. So I don't see why I should be buying Lian Li fans when I can buy these, if it makes sense. Infinity mirror fans on the back as well, on the side, and they just look stunning. I then put a Xylence one as exhaust. Now you will notice that the case is just fully negative pressure, but that's not gonna be a problem because the GPU we've chosen is an MSI 4070 Ti Super Gaming X White Slim. And now this card is just tiny, like 3/4 of the card itself being heatsink. And it has single 12-volt high power cable, which by the way, it is sleeved white, which makes it really cool. And it connects to two simple 8-pin adapters. So this card doesn't draw much power at all, but you will see the temperatures later once you get to the benchmarks. So no worry about the airflow. I know I'm gonna get comments about it, but it's actually good because the case is just fully mesh on the side, on the back, on the bottom. So air is just gonna go in since the fans are pushing the air outside. There's gonna be a slightly lower pressure inside of the case and that's gonna just pull in air. So it's not gonna be a problem. But if one wants, you can just put 3 extra fans on the bottom. The Neso is just a great case, good cutouts, good cable management and really plenty of space. So if you want, you can put extra fans on the bottom, not an extra rad, whereas you can put a rad here on the side as well. Also, little note on the Neso, the cutouts on the top where the all-in-one is are crazy, like they're very well made. I think more brands should take notes from it. But anyways, we went ahead and installed this beautiful white MSI card vertically on the front of the case. Now, a little critique I'm gonna do to this build is you probably want to buy a bigger card just because the Neso is just so big. It's better to fill it out a bit more if it makes sense. We use the simple SDIY Gen 4 extension, which you're probably going to need with the 4070 Ti, to be honest. I made a video about why sometimes it's a waste of money to buy Gen 4 extensions, but the 4070 Ti I think is better if you buy it, honestly. And with that, the build was finished. At this point, guys, first off, tell me if you like it, because I think it's gorgeous, but I built it and chose it, so I'm probably biased. But let me know if you like it. I know what you guys are here for. Performance, gaming performance especially. So let's start off with the boring synthetics. Little disclaimer, you do want to tweak your 7800X3D, and I have plenty of guides on how to tweak that and the GPU as well. All the benchmarks are going to be with undervolted CPU and GPU. On the 7800X3D, if you undervolt it, you get more performance. So you do get around 20% increase with the right offset. And again, it's all explained in the tutorials, but just to tell you, that's why it's performing more than you would expect it to, because it's tweaked. And it's also drawing less power while it does that. But anyways, we run just a quick CPU-Z to gauge the CPU performance, and that's average, doing pretty well. Then we went ahead and did Firestrike, which is a good synthetic benchmarks. I like it because it reflects the raw gaming performance, not counting driver optimization. So we went ahead and Firestrike did insanely well, but what's better than the score itself is the temperatures while running. So as you can see, CPU basically 80 degrees, really cool for a Ryzen. And the GPU basically wasn't underloaded at all. So if you were still concerned about the airflow, this should help you solve it for you. Take a look at the wattage numbers as well. Like the thing is not drawing power at all, pretty much. 750 watts that we use from iTech is plenty. You could have probably gotten away with a 650 if you really wanted to and got an 80 plus gold like we did. So with all of that out of the way, let's go on to the gaming benchmarks. Now again, this thing is a 1440p competitive gaming high refresh rate beast. Now if you want to play single player titles, again 7800X3D is maybe useless because you can get away with a worse CPU, honestly. But if you're gonna play high refresh rate, guys, like Apex Legends, this thing will max out the engine at 300 FPS at 1440p. You don't even need to play on minimum to get 300 FPS. That's like crazy performance. But Warzone is even crazier because Warzone is really heavy. So Warzone, if you put everything to the minimum, 1440p, you're gonna get 240 FPS pretty stable, which is what we want. And again, this is not 1080p PC, but just telling you, 1080p, you're gonna be playing Warzone at like 300 FPS. Just saying, which is very difficult to do. And of course, if you play Fortnite, well, this PC can do it at like 360 Hertz. So in case you want to buy one of those monitors, also this PC can play Fortnite at 1080p at 540 Hertz. So in case you want to buy the new Asus monitor, 540 Hertz, you know, this is a nice PC to match it with. Insane gaming performance, but it's what we built it for, and actually very good productivity performance too, because the 4070 Ti Super has 16 gigs of VRAM, so they solved the issue with the 4070 Ti non-Super having 12, and so now it's more prepared for high resolutions and also for editing and stuff, and it has the dual encoder in case you want to stream with it, so this is also going to be very good streaming PC. This kind of wraps up the build, but let me know if you like it, if you like the components I chose, if you like the Gamdias Neso P1, if you like the Aura cooler, if you like those fans, and just if you would have changed anything, let me know down below. And if you wouldn't, it means I did a good job, and maybe drop a like and subscribe to the channel to support me and to tell me it was a decent job. And I really hope to see you guys again watching another one of my videos. Bye bye.